everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for tuning in once again. Yes, I am back. I don't know for how long, but look, it has been some time since I've done an update, so I thought it would be a good opportunity to sit down as I've got a moment to just to catch up and say hi to everyone and talk about a few things that have caught my interest over the last couple of days. Well, the big one I think is international travel. So yesterday the Prime Minister Scott Morrison formally announced plans to reopen Australia's international borders come the 1st of November. So this is very big news for many of us. It's interesting to see the roadmap on how they plan to achieve this. Being that, and this is my understanding, of course, is the federal government has mandated the opening of borders, but then it's up to the states to implement that. Okay, at their discretion. So my understanding is that as of the 1st of November, both New South Wales and Victoria will allow Australians to leave for international destinations without an exemption to travel out of the country, which is massive. And they'll also allow international foreign nationals into the country as well, though initially Australian nationals have been prioritised. So now with regards to the quarantine situation, I understand that if you are fully vaccinated by an approved vaccination that the TGA recognises, that all Australians entering the country are only required to do 7 days quarantine at home on arrival, no hotel quarantine, but those who do not have an approved vaccination must do the mandatory 14 days hotel quarantine, as is currently the case. And that's the same across New South Wales and Victoria. Okay, so now obviously it's a very changing space. So obviously I would encourage you to keep your ears tuned, because it's quite possible that there could be some other amendments made to those plans. Now talking about Queensland, which is more specific to me, my understanding is that we will open for international travel and arrivals come the 17th of November. Now apparently the Premier hopes to have Queensland at a 70% vaccination level to allow this to occur. But I do believe that the 17th of November is the date they're moving forward with this plan, regardless of the percentage of population vaccinated. So yeah, my understanding is once we hit 70%, or the 17th of November, that is when this first stage of travel will be open for us here, and for all who reside in Queensland. And then come the 17th of December, or the 80% vaccination level, then what will happen is Queenslanders will be able to, actually I don't really know, I'll have to look into that. But look, at least we know it's 17th of November, the borders will open, I really should verify this. Just give me a sec. I'm going to just quickly have a look. Alright, well, I'm glad I checked that, because I was, when it came to Queensland, I was a bit off. So it's actually the 19th of November and or 17% vaccination rate. Okay, the state borders will open to the rest of the country and international. Okay, so I'm not talking about the internal restrictions, I'm talking about external ones. Okay, so coming from overseas. Okay, now at that 70% level, or 19th of November, all international arrivals are required to do a PCR test up to 72 hours before travel into Australia, and then they're required to do the 14 days mandatory hotel quarantine. Okay, now come the 17th of December, or the 80% vaccination mark, international arrivals, again with a PCR test 72 hours before travel, up to 72 hours before travel, may enter, and if fully vaccinated and vaccinated with a vaccination that is recognised by the TGA, they can home quarantine for 7 days, provided they have a negative test. Okay. Now, beyond that, the 90%, the information is saying that everything will be open, but there may be periods of quarantine required for some travellers. That's ambiguous, intentionally, no doubt, because they haven't worked that far ahead yet. But look, what matters to, I think, most of us is that the country is opening up to the world, and that's really important for many reasons. You know, obviously our economy, and for many of us who have been dying to head overseas and be with the people that we love and care about, just have a holiday. Like, you never realise just how much you take things for granted until it's taken away. So this is certainly something that I will never forget, and in turn I'll actively be deliberate in these things, actively appreciate these things that maybe I take for granted just a little bit. Anyway, so look, if I've got anything wrong, by the way, in any of this info, please comment below and let me know. I don't want to mislead anyone. I'm just doing my best to pass on the information that I've come across and just stay optimistic in this space. As you guys all know, I'm dying to get to the Philippines. I've been working very hard in the background trying to work out an exemption to travel, to leave Australia to get there. It seems as though there's been a lot of investment to get to this point, and then for the rules to change like this I never foresaw it, because if I did, I probably wouldn't have outlaid as much as I did to get as far as I have. But look, at the end of the day, it's assured now, so that works for me. Now the only hurdle I have now is trying to get a visa to enter the Philippines, because they're not yet open for international tourism. So the visa route I'm going down is a complicated one, and one that requires a lot of patience, being that a lot of the systems and processes in the Philippines is quite archaic compared to the Western world. Being that it's a developing nation, a lot of the systems are manpower, heavily reliant on manpower, and in turn it can slow things up, especially when manpower is restricted because there's an international pandemic going on. So it is what it is, but staying optimistic, hoping very much to get there for Christmas, and to be able to provide you guys all the updates of that and much more into the future. Anyway, well look, I will leave it there. Thank you so much again for tuning in. I will try and post content more frequently than I have in the past. But look, hang in there, and I really appreciate your time today. Thank you again, and goodbye for now. Cheers.